back into That's Boxing, episode number 3.
That's boxing.
1, 2, 3.
The nicest guys in the sport.
Well, we're gonna be a little crueler today. We're gonna make fun of the people in our Instagram poll who voted for Ryan Garcia.
Yeah, I know, right?
But we'll save that for a little later. First, let's recap the snoozer that was Saturday night on ESPN. Did you stay awake for this one?
I did. I did turn the volume off though for the main event because there was nothing to listen to and hardly anything to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel you. One exciting moment, or let's say the most exciting moment, Abdullah Mason gets the TKO in round 4. What'd you think of his performance?
Man, I'd say he's one of the most exciting boxers out there active right now.
Yeah. My main question that I wanted to ask you is there a flaw in his game?
Well, he was getting hit a couple times. Didn't seem to be affected too much by it, but when he gets to swinging, he gets hit a little bit. And that's boxing.
That's boxing.
But his dad was telling him to take it easy and take his time. Mm-hmm. He even told him at one point, "Don't let these people get to you," pointing towards the crowd. Great corner work, but then the kid went out there and just smoked the dude.
Yeah.
So, hey, but when you see the end coming, you might as well just get to it.
Yeah. It's a weird flaw to think about, but I kind of see it the same way, where he has this pressure, the pressure of expectation, and then he immediately starts dominating, so it validates the pressure. The crowd feels it. And then it's saying, okay, put your foot on the gas, but that's not always the smartest thing to do.
And he had dropped the guy twice.
Yeah.
And then your dad's saying, take it easy. He's like, man, I'm about to get this guy out of here.
Right, but it's like, hey, man, you could use the rounds, first of all.
That's discipline.
Yeah. So he's got to keep that focus. And he seems like a humble dude, someone that could really kind of have everything aligned. So I hope to see it for him. And he's at 135?
Yeah, 135.
Man, do you want to see him? Is it Shakur time? Is it Navarrete? Like, who you want to see him in there with?
I mean, of course, you'd love to see those big fights, but Top Rank's going to slow cook him, and maybe we'll see like a Keyshawn Davis or something in the next couple of years. But I don't think he's going to fight a name for a year or two at least.
Yeah. All right. Anything else on the undercard stand out to you?
There was one guy on there, the debutante down there from Corpus Christi.
The hometown hero.
The hometown kid, yeah. We knew him in the amateurs, and we're going to see him again in the pros, I got a feeling. Yeah. A pretty bad debut, you know.
It was not impressive.
No.
You know, knocking out is he even a journeyman? Journeyman electrician?
I think he was a mechanic.
He was a mechanic.
You know, and hey, you know, that's a hard-working man. But, yeah, that was a pretty abysmal debut, and having a meet up with that guy in the pros will be rewarding. I think we'll see him sooner than later.
Yeah. All right. Well, I look forward to that. We'll do that breakdown. On the main card, Conceição gets the win on Guardado. Conceição, of course, lost to Valdez and Shakur, but the man got Navarrete's hat, and that's that's legendary status for me.
He got the draw.
I think he took a decision on Navarrete.
No, he lost to him, didn't he?
I don't think so.
Let's double check our facts on that, Dust.
Okay. Fact check.
Come on, Dust. Get
Fact
that
check.
Google open. So, I'm pretty sure he lost to the best 3 in the division.
Oh, majority draw.
Draw. Isn't that what I said?
Oh, that is what you said.
I did say draw.
Yeah, but I remember because Navarrete put him down twice and still only got the draw. Mm-hmm. And so I thought, that's why he put his hat on him at the end.
Yeah, man, that's a cool hat, that black hat.
Yeah.
I want one of those.
You got to earn it. Can't
It's
not an Amazon purchase.
I thought he looked good this weekend. Took him a little while, but he eventually got the guy out of there in the 7th round with some body punching. Mm-hmm. And, you know, for a minute there I thought, okay, I can see why he's not, you know, a world beater.
Yeah.
But then towards the end, he turned it on and started looking really strong again. So, great performance and a good fight.
Yeah, see if he gets back on track and kind of gets some top names and, can get his career going again. You know, moving on, the second fight on the main card, Efe Ajagba versus Guido Vieino. That was a very interesting fight, I thought, especially if you kind of rewind episode number 2, like last week. Mm-hmm. That was kind of the breakdown. We were like, yo, this is not a 80-20 fight. This is a 60-40 fight.
Yeah.
And it kind of looked like that. I was going crazy in the first round when it looked like Guido was going to get him out of there.
He did. He wobbled him pretty good there.
And then he shoulder checked him and leapt across the ring. If he had 10 more seconds.
Yeah,
that
he nearly tackled him clean out of the ring. Yeah. I mean, that's why we got ropes up around the thing to hold these guys in there because they were getting wild.
Yeah, it was WWE. But at the end, you got this kind of ugly slugfest. I felt like Guido kind of got the taste for the knockout early, and he kind of wobbled him maybe in round 3 again. Like he looked like he was dominating, and he was going to get him out of there. But I feel like he just his game plan changed to that immediacy. So he was just headhunting. He wasn't investing to the body. He didn't put a lot of work in to make the later rounds easier.
Right.
And FA just survived, and Jogba was able to come back.
Well, I don't know if you saw how many uppercuts Jogba was throwing in landing, but
everyone landed.
Man, he was just smoking him with those uppercuts. And then you got Guido coming and just trying to slap him on the ears with these like big clubbing rear hand blows. And I'm like, that's not getting the job done, man.
Yeah,
like
throw a straight punch.
Like, straight up the middle, you know. But these guys, when they get swinging, they're just slapping in there, and it's not really doing any damage and mostly getting blocked. And he should have done his fair share of uppercuts and straight punches and maybe would have evened it out a little bit.
Yeah.
And then a Jogba switched to southpaw in there somewhere. And then
that was weird.
And he was actually landing a jab with regularity from both stances. So it was clearly his fight. Nothing controversial about that decision.
I feel like Guido needs to watch some Frasier. Like, if he wants to come in...
The TV show?
Yeah. Well, listen, everyone should watch Frasier, the TV show, the greatest show of all time.
Of all time, yes.
Yeah. If this podcast ever gets picked up by KACL, that's how I know we made it.
That's the goal.
Yeah, that's the goal. But, because he comes in hunched over and low like that, which is how he got hit with all those uppercuts. But he didn't have any side-to-side head movement, no herky-jerky, and he had no cross block. And so it just felt like he had all the weaknesses of that style, none of the built-in attributes of defense.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't the most entertaining fight of all time, but it went the distance and gave us a good show. So.
Did you think they got it right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was close, though. I think because it was a split decision.
Yeah.
And then we go on to the main event. Jared Anderson, Riyad Mary. What'd you think?
Well, like I said, I just turned the sound off.
Yeah.
And just kind of, I was cooking dinner, watching out of the corner of my eye. You know, just every time I looked at the TV, it was the same sequence over and over again.
Yeah.
Mary just backing up, using the ropes, occasional counter punches, very casual from both guys. Mm-hmm. Real casual approach with their game plans. One guy couldn't, and the other guy wouldn't.
Yeah.
You know, one guy couldn't land any punches, the other guy wouldn't throw any punches.
Yeah.
So this is just a sparring session, essentially.
These fights are always like kind of rough because, you know, the homies were over because I said, hey, there's a good, great fight on tonight, right? You're going to see a knockout. This guy, Jared Anderson's crazy. And then you sit through something like that and you just have to kind of narrate, well, you know, styles make fights and this other guy's not here to fight. But the kind of thing I saw online that was interesting to me was people saying Anderson got the Joshua treatment from Ruiz. Basically, he got a taste of getting wobbled in his last fight with what Frank Martin or Charles Martin, and now he's not the same.
Right.
And I don't know if I'm ready to go that far, but it looked like a timid performance. I mean, for sure that Mary wasn't there to fight, but he was there to get hit.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if Anderson would have just turned it on at any point, the guy would have just submitted.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't want to be there to win. He just wanted to get in there and get that check, go the rounds. You know, he wasn't trying to make a statement at all.
Yeah.
He was just trying to play it safe.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a blown-up cruiserweight, obviously, in there. Didn't have the stature to hang and wrestle with a guy like Anderson. So, you know, what I thought was more interesting than the fight was the fact that Jared Anderson showed up in a race car with his whole crew in like race helmets and stuff.
Yeah, was that from his cop chase?
I think that's like a statement about his recent like running from the cops for fun.
Right.
And that's like absurd behavior, you know.
Hey, lean into it. You know.
I guess so.
Well, if you bet with us on our picks last week, you made money for sure. We told you to take the parlay. The parlay hit. Top rank never fails. Fixes in.
That's how we do it.
And I did lose on Guido, but I felt good about it. It was the right line, it was the right call, and I think you put 3 or 4 of those bets in a row, on those fights where the line is just wrong, and you hit on one, you're going to cover your losses and then some. And he was razor thin there, so that's boxing's got you covered.
Yeah, it's boxing. That's betting.
We're your retirement plan.
That's gambling.
Yeah, that's gambling. That's yeah. All right, well let's get to it. Next Saturday, it's coming right up.
Oh yeah,
Devin the Dream Haney versus King Ryan.
So much going on with this that I almost forgot that there's supposed to be a boxing match.
Oh, they are boxing.
We'll see.
Okay. All right.
Garcia's telling everybody it's going to be a fight. This ain't just a regular boxing match.
I actually highlighted that. I wrote that in my notes off that 40 days thing. It was that's so telling, and I like that he kind of knows that in a way.
Well, it's his only way to be competitive.
Right.
Right. They put out so much content for this. It's taken over the boxing world. And my question is this fight going to live up to the hype? or is this going to be a shutdown by Devin Haney, as I think it should be?
Would that not live up to the hype for you?
I think the people that are hyped won't understand what that means, what they're looking at. Mm-hmm. They're going to say Devin Haney's afraid to fight.
Right.
Because they don't know what boxing is.
Right.
Because they're on TikTok all day long looking at little clips of knockouts, and they think that's what boxing is.
Yeah.
So when they watch a guy shut a dude down with his jab and his footwork and his movement and some tactical clinching and such, that they're going to say, oh my God, he's afraid, he's scared. So I think the casuals, whether Ryan loses or wins this thing, they're gonna support their guy all the way through because they don't know boxing. They know punching.
Right.
They know highlight reels.
No, I agree with you. Every time I see someone say, "Oh, Devin's just a runner. He's a track star," the man, I've never seen him run in a fight. I mean, there's people who run for sure who are not there to
literally running,
and have no offense. But he's just defensive and responsible, and his is it loud out there? Yeah, what is that? I wonder what that is. It's not. We'll cut this out. It's not.
Sounds like the dishwasher or something.
Yeah, it's just weird because I don't have anything going. Maybe it's like my fridge or something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've never seen Devin run. I think he's defensively responsible. He's got great movement. He's evasive. He's just a defensive fighter, but he's still putting pressure on you and still making you uncomfortable and taking away your best attributes. I think people just don't see defense. They only see offense.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I think it's hard for them to see. They don't know what they're looking at because they don't watch boxing enough. So, if you watch boxing all the time, you can see these little details. You can see a forearm block, or oftentimes, from our vantage point from the television cameras, we can see things that the corner doesn't even see.
Yeah.
Like a headbutt or something. And I'll see him right away, because I'm watching with a keen eye. I'm watching with a cut man's eye. I'm always looking out for just a tiny speck of blood to tell me I got to get to work in that break. So, you gotta expect these casual fans that all they want to see is a big left hook, and I think that's what Garcia is going to try to deliver for them.
Yeah, Well, and you talk about this fight being such a spectacle. That's because of Ryan. It's not because of Devin, as talented as he is, and as long as Ryan can do that, he's going to be a mainstay in boxing. And I know people try to take away a lot from him and say that he's just like a Logan Paul or whatever, right? A YouTube boxer, but he's not.
He's not. No.
I think he's just not quite a top 10, top 5 type of guy.
He's certainly not top 5 in any rankings I could find. He's top 6 is the closest I've found. The Ring magazine doesn't rank him at all.
Right. For
their belt. The WBC has him ranked at number 6.
Yeah, so it's like
ESPN's got him at 9.
To me, you zoom out on that, and it's like, hey, as a man that boxes, that's a tremendous accomplishment, right?
Oh,
to be right that. But yeah, it's tough because, and to his credit, he's jumping in there with the top dogs.
Yeah, no, it's commendable.
Yeah.
It's brave, But when you're taking those kind of fights, if win or lose, you're still gonna, have some star power. You're still gonna have been there. You went and did it.
Is there how many more times can you lose in spectacular fashion? Do you think before that fades?
I mean, if we're looking at like the Conor McGregor plan, never. The star never fades. The guy. These guys lose.
But he peppered wins in there.
Did he? Well, yeah, of course.
Because he can't. I mean, I'm not.
And he did win belts and championships.
Sure. Right. Yeah. He started from a higher place of accomplishment, and then he had some key losses, but then he came back, knocked out Cowboy in like 10 seconds, and maybe that's the path for Ryan is like take a fight like this, go back, take 2 tune-up fights, knock people out, get the get shiny again.
Yeah, it's interesting, man, because he is a very experienced boxer. He started when he was a kid, and when you hear these guys go back and forth about their amateur competitions, you can hear his success in the amateurs came from just being a violent punching, just come out and start swinging.
Right.
Because he admitted that's how he won the first time against Devin, and then he tried it again the next time and it didn't work.
Right.
And I feel like that's what he's acting like he's going to try to do for this fight. Just come out swinging.
I mean, I should have watched the Tank fight before this, but as I remember, he was just walking forward, just coming. I mean, there was one point where he just threw like 3 left hooks in a row. I think that's the first time he got dropped. Tank just crouched down, got small, came up with the right hand and put him down.
Yeah. He kind of set him up with that long lead hand. Tank did. By probing with the lead hand. And then when the hook came over the top, he went underneath it and came over with his own left. So, I don't see Haney losing this fight unless he just does something completely insane and stands there and trades with Garcia.
Yeah.
Like, just hammers and haymakers. But that's not going to happen. It's Devin Haney. He's disciplined. He has had to box his career to be successful, as opposed to Garcia just being a bully, just being a heavy-handed left hooker.
Yeah.
And just watching guys fall over. You got to go with the guy who's more technically proficient. And so I'm going with Haney.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think that's why it's an exciting fight, right? Because anytime you have a puncher in there, you got a puncher's chance. That's the saying, right?
Right.
And Garcia makes that exciting because he really does have that explosive speed, power, and Haney has to stay on his game. But of anybody that I would think is capable of staying on their game for 12 rounds perfectly in all of boxing, it's Devin Haney. Number one.
Yeah. Yeah, we saw even when he knocked down, in his most recent fight, when he got that knockdown, he didn't go in for the kill.
No.
He just kind of stepped back and stuck exactly to the game plan.
Yeah, like there's no noise in his head. No, I mean, we were talking earlier about pressure with Abdullah Mason, and it's like Devin Haney tunes all of that out, man.
Yeah, no, he's not into that at all. One of my favorite boxers to watch because of that discipline. So if he sticks to his disciplined game plan, as we expect him to, there'll be some fireworks, I'm sure. Yeah. There'll be some, maybe he's trying to go for a clinch and Garcia just tries to go buck wild right there and starts swinging and the crowd's going to go crazy.
Right.
But I don't see him getting knocked out. I think he's too defensively responsible.
Okay, so he's piecing Ryan up. He's got him at length with the jab. He's turning him. Ryan's like frustrated, like it's round 4. How does Haney ultimately get the win? Do you think he's able to stop him, get him to quit?
No, I see a majority decision or a unanimous decision.
Yeah.
Long haul, you know.
I think that's most logical pick for sure, right? Like that's
okay. So let's go. What most logical you think is that?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, just you look at Haney's box rec, right? It's all pretty much majority decisions outside his first couple fights.
Yeah.
He's got a couple. I think somebody retired, but. Yeah, he's a guy who boxes to a decision. That's his style. I mean, people want to clown on him for not having power, this and that. Okay, yeah, whatever. He gets the decision. But when he's outclassing somebody this much, which I think I see, he's going to have opportunities to take shots. And he's not a weak dude. He's a physically big fighter.
Oh, yeah.
And putting that many shots together on somebody who we saw, I mean, quit, feels like I can see a path to the stoppage where it's late in the fight and it's just like too much. And either the corner throws the towel in or Garcia just stays down.
Okay, that's an interesting take. I'd like to see that play out, but I don't know. Can Haney crack that Philly shell, bro?
Oh man. So okay, that's the perfect segue to talk about Derek James, right?
Oh man.
And
oof.
I'm sure there's never been a moment of disappointment greater in a coach's life than watching that.
Bro. I mean, just even the way he's talking in these DAZN little behind-the-scenes clips, he's just like, I told him what happens in here doesn't go on the internet, and I don't care what you do out there, but you got to listen to me. I'm like, bro, that's not a good system.
No.
You got to keep your fighter on a tight leash. Why do you think the old-timers went to go live up in the Catskills and
right.
stuff? Get away from the city, get away from distractions, get away from women, get away from Spanish teachers, get away from the recording studio where Ryan's going, spending how much time, that's so undisciplined. It's embarrassing.
Take it easy there. I'm trying to get a feature with Ryan,
Okay.
It was not his music was not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm in the PJ getting closer to God.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it's bars, man.
Yeah, amazing metaphor.
I feel like, I feel bad for Derek James. I feel like I don't know what he advised him with regard to this fight, right? But I would guess my sentiment would be, dude, let's do like 5 more fights at a lower level and really bake in, because he's basically trying to break him down and rebuild him more fundamentally sound.
You think that's what's really going on?
I think that's got to be your goal. If you become Ryan Garcia's trainer, you're like, holy shit, you have crazy attributes, right?
Sure.
But you've got huge flaws in your game. So and he said it in the little miniseries. He was like, I try to just fix one little thing and have him do it so many times that he can't do it wrong.
I like that. That was a cool quote.
Yeah. And so, how much time do you have to do that with only one fight? And then you see in that one fight, he switches to a whole other style you didn't even teach him to do.
He's never done before.
So it's not enough time.
And he's still trying to say like that was effective or something and it wasn't corny.
Well, because he judges everything based on the outcome, right? Hey, I stopped him. Anything I did was effective. And it's like, no, you got lucky because, right. I mean, I'm not taking away his physical attributes as talent. That is a form of talent, right? So it's not just luck. He dominated. He won the fight. He stopped the dude, but it could have been easier for him. He could have had an easier night. Mm-hmm. He made it more difficult by employing that flawed style.
Absolutely, yeah. In the gym, guys will get successful in sparring where they'll start landing some punches, and then they'll sit there and start trading for too long. Mm-hmm. And because they forget that what made the punches land happen was what they did before it. The jabbing, right. The moving, right. The feinting, the angles, and then bip, bop, boom, they land a nice combination.
Right.
And then they stay there too long, and now they're in a slugfest because the opponent's counterpunching after getting hit. And I'm always telling these guys, get right back to what got you the success.
Right.
The disciplined jab, the ring control, and then the combination. And then just move around the corner and start over again with the jab. Don't go around the corner and just start throwing haymakers.
Right.
I don't think Ryan has ever been coached or been receptive to that kind of coaching. A student, a boxer, has to submit to their coach, submit to their to learning, and give their life to that person, and trust. And I don't think he's ever been able to do that.
And that's, I mean, think about what you just said. If he was able to reverse engineer his success and be like, oh, when I get people in this position with their lead hand low and I'm able to land this left hook, that's how I stop everybody. Oh, and okay, how do I get them in that position? Well, I jab and I probe and I find them and I push the hand down or whatever it is, right? Mm-hmm. He reverse engineers every step. That's a game plan. That's a strategy. And he doesn't look like he really has that. He just says, well, I'll probably find a way to fit it in there. And It's like, yeah, you probably will against 9.5 out of 10 fighters, but you're trying to be in that 0.5 conversation, and they're not going to do that.
Yeah. Well, I think part of this fight that should be interesting is, they're talking about, Game 7 and everything, but they were children when they had those fights.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They're both grown men now, and they're both going to be a lot heavier than 140 pounds on fight night. Mm-hmm. We saw Haney blow up to like 165. Well, not blow up, but rehydrate.
That's
up to 165.
That's crazy.
Blowing up usually means like getting fat, I guess, because he certainly didn't look fat. He looked shredded in there.
25 pounds of weight, though, and
that's absurd, man.
Well, like
24 hours.
That's crazy.
So Garcia, I'm sure, will rehydrate as well, but I don't know if he'll get that big.
No.
Typically for 140 pounds, like we saw with Hitchens the other day, I think his fight night weight was 148.8.
Right.
My pro fights at 140. He'll probably be about the same, maybe 150, 52, something, maybe, if we really go get our cheeseburgers on.
Yeah.
But, dude, this snack thing they're working, I don't know.
What's in the IV? That's what I want to know.
Well, I think IV rehydration is illegal in most states.
Wow. Yeah, illegal doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Something's going on to engineer the body to shrink down that much and gain that much weight.
Right. Yeah. In a recent interview with Rolly Romero, he talked about his loss to Tank, and he said, he had cut 17 pounds that last day.
The last day?
The last 24 hours. That's a water cut, like, where you...
Just in the sauna rubbing yourself with a credit card?
Yeah, there's a whole system they do. It's typical in wrestling and MMA where they water load. So you're actually drinking gallons and gallons of water, and then it initiates some kind of chemical response in your body. When you start sweating, you just dump all the water, and then everything else goes with it.
Right.
So this is how these guys get down to these, skeletons on the stage for their weigh-ins. So... I think that's what Rolly was doing in that one. I don't think that's what Haney's doing, though. I think he must be doing a big cut in the final week, but...
I mean, he was just making 135 not that long ago.
Hardly, though. Talk about skeleton.
He said it was hard, but he's doing something special. Or maybe that's part of his, maybe he has less natural attributes than Garcia in terms of speed or power, but maybe that's a natural attribute. He can yo-yo weight like that in 100%, a 24-hour
dude.
period.
100%. Like, I always said that about Canelo. He was one of the first people that, in this recent, era of boxing, that really was capable of weight bullying like that. Mm-hmm. Making weight at 160 and then coming into the fight at 178,
right,
180, and
how the tables have turned with him just terrified of Benavidez rehydrating or not rehydrating and then being blamed for it or the.
Yeah, to be successful in boxing at that high level, you have to have so many attributes, and one of them is the ability to rehydrate or, dehydrate, right, and then rehydrate, so you're not going to be a small guy on fight night.
Right, make the appropriate weight, or really it's like weigh into fight night ratio. You got to have that differential.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're the tiny guy in there getting pushed around.
It's a tricky thing to do as a coach, and even in the amateur boxing, we have guys come in, and I'm like, okay, you want to fight? Well, you got to lose, 20 pounds just to walk around at, and then after that you're going to probably cut five or 6 pounds.
I wish they just weighed him on the ring walk.
Let's just fight, man.
Like, you know what I mean? Right, the ring walk to the ring, scale, get on it. You got to weigh X in the ring.
Yeah.
That's it. And then it's like, just be at your fight weight kind of year round. If you're in camp year round, like, that's it.
I mean, that's how they used to do it. You watch those old videos, those guys, they just look like guys, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the science of strength and conditioning has transformed the body so much in all sports over these last, 20, 30 years. But
well, and competition innovates, right? Every sport gets more. It's like you look at field goals in the NFL, and they used to make 80%. Now it's like 98%.
Yeah,
this is just the evolution of competitive advantage.
So, like the old school, like motocross, dirt biking, and stuff. Those guys would just like drink beer and just like hit jumps and have fun.
Right.
Now these guys are like scientifically engineered. They got year-round trainers and
that
sponsors.
Red Bull money.
They got that Red Bull money. Yeah, it used to just be fucking beer drinking maniacs. But, boxing used to be beer drinking maniacs too. You look at some of those guys look like they just got right up off the bar stool and walked in the ring that night.
Right.
And now you're looking at guys like Haney giving us these freaking complexes over,
My biggest question is, if Haney gets the win, is he going to paint a giant life-size portrait to memorialize it, to add to his collection?
Oh, he is humble, bro. You see the footage in his house? How many pictures?
That's what I'm saying. Ridiculous. I was like, this is the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen in a boxing documentary.
Yeah, recently I watched the thing about Stallone on Netflix, and he's just reminiscing about his career and talking about Rocky and Rambo and stuff. And while they're interviewing him, they're packing up his house to move. Like, he's moving back to New York for the first time.
Right.
And everything is Rocky or Rambo or Stallone memorabilia, statues of himself, life-size statues, pictures, everything. I mean, this dude just lives with his own image around him all the time. And that's just exactly what Haney's house looks like.
It's bizarre. I could see like having a room or a storage locker where you keep a lot of memorabilia because it's like specialty or whatever. But to want to just look at it and not have the desire to have a different art piece that you could clearly afford there. You're like, no, not only do I not want any other art, I want this art specifically of me draped in the American flag.
Crazy. Well, that's the dream, man.
That's the dream.
He made his dream.
He's the American dream. Okay. Well, I was looking up the line right here. Devin Haney minus 750. Are you taking the money line? We can't. I like this Devin Haney by KO at plus 240.
Yeah, I mean, some of the boxing pundits are choosing that. They're thinking he's going to stop him a TKO, right? In like mid to late rounds. But I don't see it, bro. I just don't see it. I don't think Garcia is that susceptible. I think I believe him when he said he had an injured rib and then he got hit down there to the body, and I believe he chose to stay down, of course, but it wasn't just because he just wanted to go home. I think he was hurting.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he was hurting, but can Devin Haney put the same hurt on him?
I don't think so, man. He's not known. We're talking Tank versus Haney here as far as power goes. You just got to look at their history,
The other interesting bet is total rounds. The over under is 10.5.
Wow.
So under 10.5 rounds plus 200. That kind of gives you this interesting bet where you're saying, well, on one hand, Garcia could get really lucky and stop him, which would probably come in under 10.5. Or, right, Haney breaks him down.
Yeah, I think that'd be an interesting one. And that's kind of covers all your bases there.
Yeah.
Something's going to happen before the 10th round. If anything's going to happen, it's going to happen before the 10th.
I think so. Yeah, all right, so that's an interesting bet. Maybe under 10.5 and the money line on Devin Haney. Honestly, money line on Devin Haney minus 750 still feels like good value. I think Haney's he's dialed in.
Man, it's so hard to remember that this is supposed to be a boxing match because it's become such a celebrity like death match thing going on here. Because this Garcia has been such an enigma. Even in the gym years ago, like pre-pandemic, he was a young kid, Charlie. He was probably like 14, 15. He's like, I was just talking about goals and what he wanted to do with his boxing career. He's like, I just want to get good enough to beat Ryan Garcia. And I'm like, who? What? That guy?
Wow, that's such a specific...
I was like, wow, you've already picked your opponent and everything. And then, of course, I knew who he was, but I didn't realize he was that important or that well-known to the young kids because I didn't have TikTok or anything. I was just figuring out Instagram.
Right.
I'm 40 years old. So I had seen him fight, and I remember thinking, wow, this guy's kind of corny, but then he earned my respect, most people's respect, when he got Luke Campbell. Yeah. After, getting that knockdown, getting up and finishing him with a body punch, I said, okay, wow, that was a great performance. This kid is the real deal.
He's legit, yeah.
And ever since then, you kind of been hoping that he can build off that success. And he's done pretty good for himself.
He has, really. And he's, like you said, he's stepped up and taken the big fights, so...
Yeah. But I think because of his celebrity, because it feels kind of like a celebrity fight, he can't lose really. Like if he loses this, so what? Who's next? Romero or somebody? Like he's on to the next one.
Like I said, he needs to step down, keep working with James or whatever trainer to fix the flaws, and do 4, 5, 6 fights.
Dude,
I think
the comparisons between him and De La Hoya are so glaringly obvious. They're both struggled to have consistency in their careers. They both moved around to different trainers. They're both massive celebrities. They both have tons of female fans. Now, he's working on a record. I don't know if you ever heard De La Hoya's mariachi record, but he worked that out. And they put out some love songs and stuff. It's pretty hilarious.
But De La Hoya was an Olympian, and
it's true.
I think the boxing skill differential is great between them, and that's ultimately going to be the difference in terms of what they accomplish inside the ring.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's going to be an interesting fight, and I won't be able to watch it, I don't think.
Yeah, that's the funniest part. We are not going to be there.
No. I'll be working the corner at Lorenzo Caldera's fight. I'm also working with Aaron Thompson that night over here at the Clackamas Armory for the Arena Wars showdown. So,
is there going to be MMA in that? Do we know?
I'm not sure. I know that there was an MMA fighter who was selling some tickets, but then I heard his fight got canceled. But there should be. There's 7 boxing matches scheduled.
Okay, that's a good little card.
And there's also, this event typically has MMA. Sometimes they have a Muay Thai with the traditional music and armbands and everything they do. And so we should, have a nice long event. And if it has, our 7 boxing matches plus a few other MMA things, and it starts at 7 o'clock. The event starts at 7, and we're probably not fighting as a co-main event. Probably not fighting till 11 o'clock at night or something. So we're gonna miss the Garcia thing.
I'm recording it. We'll head over here.
It's at the Barclays Center in New York. So what time is that going to be over here? 3 hours difference, right?
Yeah. But I don't know what time their ring walks are expected. But we're gonna miss it. No way it's still on. But I'm gonna hit the rewind, and I'm gonna try to put earplugs in so no one there gives me the play-by-play.
I mean, somebody will probably have it on their phone in the locker room up at the fights.
Don't watch it. Abstain.
I've watched quite a few fights in dressing rooms because it's not uncommon to have a big event for us here on the local scene that coincides with a huge event on the international scene. Yeah. So we'll be watching, but we're trying not to get too distracted. I remember we were watching Caleb Plant versus Canelo before a big amateur event, one of my heavyweights, and as soon as the knockout came, I was like, all right. Quit looking. Stop looking.
Yeah.
Just focus.
I remember I watched that at a Dave & Buster's in Arizona. Looked like Cinco de Mayo in there. Maybe that fight was on Cinco de Mayo. It was standing room only. The place was just going nuts.
Wow.
It's kind of,
Well, Garcia's trying to say this. If he wins this fight, it's going to make him the face of boxing. But I think that's kind of ridiculous. Who do you think the face of boxing is?
Ryan Garcia.
Get the fuck out of here.
The reason I hate this question is okay, what does that mean? Like, who's the most recognizable boxer to the general public? Or
yes, that's what that means to me.
Yeah, so it's Floyd Mayweather. I mean, just name the most recognizable.
Okay.
Floyd Mayweather.
Of all time?
Well, I meant currently.
Let's say actively competing. So Mayweather's out of the question.
Okay, all right. Well, he's, he's in an exhibition every other month. But, okay. Ryan Garcia, super recognizable. I mean, really, Jake Paul. Yeah. Super recognizable. If you count Mike Tyson, that would be, if this fight is not a real fight, right? Sure. It's not sanctioned. No. But to me, it's just a stupid question is my point, right? Because I don't care who the most famous boxer is. I want to know, what is the face of...
Yeah.
Right?
Well, if they make a new boxing video game, who are they going to put on the cover?
Well, see, that's different because you got to kind of temper it with credibility. You're looking for the most famous and the most credible, which is definitely Canelo.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure. I think that's fair to say.
Right. But if you showed a picture of Canelo and a picture of Jake Paul to every person on the planet Earth, right? Who would be more recognizable?
Absolutely, yeah. Unfortunately, the celebrity.
Yeah.
But I don't think Ryan's going to be able to surpass Canelo anytime soon. But maybe give it 20 years. Maybe he'll get some wins, get a belt.
I don't know who's got more Instagram followers. I just think it's funny people talk about the face of boxing, but it's like boxing's already figured out how to kind of rank people, and it's called the rankings or the belts.
Yeah.
Right.
Those rankings are opinionated though. Like everyone you look at is a little different.
For sure, but the rankings dictate who fights who gets the belt, and so it's like, hey, I'm Bud Crawford. I'm undisputed in 3, about to be 4, I think, divisions. I'm the face of boxing, not in terms of fame, but in terms of
true boxing fans, I think for sure.
There you go.
And I was lucky enough to bump into Bud down there in Lafayette, Louisiana, at the Nationals last year. He's a super nice dude. Just no ego. We're walking into the event to go to our fight, and we're kind of in fight mode, you know. We're walking into this big stadium, and I hear this guy talking on the phone, walking next to me, and I'm like, damn, that guy sounds just like Crawford. And then I take another look at him, like, kind of looks like him too. I'm like, holy shit, that's Terrence Crawford. And he's just walking in the front door just like everybody else.
Yeah.
You know, no entourage, no bullshit. And he stopped and took a ton of pictures with everybody, you know, giving all the kids the time. It was really, really nice. And, you know, I don't know anything about Ryan Garcia in that level. He was supposed to come here. They filmed a Gatorade commercial, and they were hitting up gyms in Portland to come film the Gatorade commercial at. And it was supposed to be Garcia and the basketball player from here who just moved away.
Oh, Damian Lillard?
Yeah, those two together. And they hit up our gym about it, but they decided not to do it because they needed to bring in so much equipment, and we're on the second floor without an elevator. So they ended up doing it at a different gym. But to get it into that gym, they actually had to like cut a hole in the roof and use like a crane to drop it. Yeah, they had to modify the whole gym to get this one commercial shot. And that's when he was with his other trainer. What's his name? Joe Goosen?
Oh, yeah, Joe Gooseman, the wax sculpture of Elvis.
The best dressed guy in boxing?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, you know, I was like, for a minute there, I was like, hey, I'm going to get to meet this celebrity, but I'm pretty certain, I'm just guessing that he isn't the kind of guy that walks in the front door by himself and says hi to people.
And Bud is just like that. I went to that fight in Vegas when we were ringside, and I turn around and it's like, oh, there's Bud Crawford just chilling, nobody. And I mean, dude, just got swarmed and just kicked it, took pictures with everybody, just like you said. Like,
yeah, definitely going to go down in history as a people's boxer.
Yeah.
And look forward to seeing him fight. We'll see who he matches up with soon. They're throwing around some names, but I haven't seen anything.
Fundora, let's go.
I don't
Jump in there. Get all these belts at 150. That's what I'd be thinking if I were him. What's the fastest way to get every belt at 154?
Yeah, he could do it.
Yeah,
he could do it.
He could definitely.
For sure. He's not a little dude. I'll tell you you've seen him up close too. Yeah. He's not a tall guy, but he's a thick boy. He's got a lot of leg on him, man. Yeah. You know, he's built. So
he's got the wrestler.
He's got the wrestler in him.
Well, I got one more question before we get out of here. I got to ask it. You said you had a boxer come in who had the Ryan Garcia dartboard. That's who they wanted to take out.
Yes.
All right, so you're turning pro tomorrow. Who are you there to stop?
Oh, wow. Well, I'm about 180 pounds, so I think I better cut down to one.
No, forget weight. Forget weight. This is like you just anybody in boxing. This is like your nemesis that you've entered the sport to conquer.
Oh, wow. You know, I never really thought about boxing like that. I was always trying to emulate my heroes. I never really picked a guy that I wanted to take out. Oh, shoot. You know, and then I'm like, shit, all the guys I've studied and watched are the greatest. Those are going to be hard guys to take out.
Yeah.
You know what I want to do? We're about the same age. I'm going to get Triple G out of retirement.
Yeah. Yeah, you and Triple G.
Let's go.
Okay.
He was my favorite back in the day when I was trying to compete. So we're about
I would buy that fight on pay-per-view.
Yeah.
You versus Triple G.
Yeah, I got one good jab.
Yeah.
And then we'll see what happens
I'll
after
give you
that.
longer than that. I'll give you longer than a jab. You'd be all right. Yeah. You're tall.
Yeah, that'd be a good fight. That'd be a lot of fun. Well, we'll see if we can come back out of retirement. What about you, Dust? Who are you picking?
I mean, it's a tough question. I didn't want you to ask me. I just want, I think, I think I'd take Tyson Fury. Yeah. I think it's a little too much talking, and I think I got him. I got his number, Listen, he's a big guy, but
I don't think he could fit in this studio that we're sitting in right now.
No, I don't think he could, and he's not invited.
Yeah. Well, I think you could take him, man.
Yeah. Oh, I feel confident. And that's why, but Usyk's going to get the job done for me. But that's for another episode.
Well, good talking boxing here with you, man. I better get to the gym. We got some work to do over there.
Yes, sir. All right. We'll see y'all next week.
That's boxing.